Hello everyone, and welcome to today's in-depth exploration of the poem Nose versus Eyes by the 18th century poet William Cowper. Today, we will dive deep into this whimsical and thought-provoking poem, providing you with insights, context, and a better understanding of the poet's intent. Let's start. Let's begin by getting to know the poet behind this intriguing piece of literature. William Cowper, born in 1731 in England, was a celebrated poet known for his contributions to the Romantic and pre-Romantic literary movements. He was not only a poet but also an accomplished hymn writer and letter writer. Before we delve into Nose versus Eyes, it's worth mentioning some of Cowper's other famous works. He is perhaps best known for his poem The Task, which explores themes of nature, religion, and human emotion. Another noteworthy work is Only Hymns, a collection of hymns co-authored with John Newton. Cowper's writings often reflected his struggles with mental health, making them deeply personal and relatable. In the rich tapestry of English literature, one often encounters works that explore the profound depths of human emotions, society, and existence. However, sometimes literature takes a different path, leading us to moments of sheer whimsy and humor. Such is the case with the poem Nose versus Eyes by William Cowper. Today, we will embark on a literary journey to uncover the satirical brilliance of Cowper's poem. With a blend of wit, clever wordplay, and astute social commentary, Cowper invites us into an imaginary courtroom where the nose and the eyes engage in a legal dispute over a seemingly trivial possession, a pair of spectacles. As we delve into this comical courtroom drama, we will explore the poet's use of humor, poetic devices, and the subtle themes that underlie this light-hearted narrative. Nose versus Eyes reminds us that literature is not only a mirror reflecting the profundities of the human soul but also a stage where laughter and satire can illuminate the quirks of our human nature. Join us as we unpack the clever arguments, the playful metaphors, and the humorous characters in this delightful poetic encounter. Through this exploration, we aim to provide you with a deeper appreciation of both the poem and the craft of its creator, William Cowper. This light-hearted and satirical narrative consists of 8 quatrains, with each quatrain containing 4 lines. The rhyme scheme is AB, with the first and third, and the second and fourth lines of each quatrain rhyming, adding to the poem's rhythm and playfulness. The consistent structure helps maintain a sense of balance and order in the midst of a humorous argument and contrasts with the absurdity of the poem's content. Now, let's discuss some of the poetic devices that Cowper employs in this poem. These poetic devices add depth, imagery, and rhetorical flair to the poem, making it both engaging and effective in conveying the poet's humorous commentary on human behavior and disputes. Personification is a poetic device where human qualities are given to non-human entities or objects. The sensory organs, nose, eyes, tongue, and ear, are personified and given human qualities, such as the ability to argue and judge. Imagery uses descriptive language to create vivid mental pictures. The poem creates vivid mental images, such as the spectacles being held up in the courtroom, adding to the poem's humor and clarity. Alliteration is the repetition of usually initial consonant sounds in 2 or more neighboring words or syllables. The repetition of consonant sounds adds a pleasing sound pattern to the poem. Metaphor is a figure of speech that directly compares one thing to another for rhetorical effect. Inversion involves reversing the typical word order in a sentence for emphasis or poetic effect. Hyperbole is a rhetorical and literary technique where an author or speaker intentionally uses exaggeration and overstatement for emphasis and effect. These exaggerated statements aren't meant to be taken literally. Exaggeration is employed to emphasize the lawyer's arguments and the judge's ruling. Simile is a figure of speech comparing to unlike things that is often introduced by like or as. Tautology is the use of different words to say the same thing twice in the same statement. For example, visage and countenance both mean a person's face or facial expression. Satire is a story method that exposes flaws in a person or system in power. Rather than realistically depicting flaws, satire emphasizes them, often exaggerating them until they become ridiculous or comical. The poem uses satire to humorously comment on societal behaviors and the absurdity of human disputes. Beyond the humor and satire, this poem touches on themes such as human vanity, the triviality of disputes, and the reliance on external objects. Cowper uses this humorous scenario to comment on the peculiarities of human behavior and our tendency to argue over seemingly insignificant matters. The poem explores several themes, including hasty judgment and unfair legal proceedings, human behavior and greed, and social satire. The imaginary courtroom scenario satirizes the legal process. This theme is evident throughout the poem as it unfolds in an imaginary courtroom scenario. The judge, represented by Chief Baron Ear, delivers a humorous and seemingly hasty judgment. The poem satirizes how judgments can be made without careful consideration, highlighting the absurdity of the legal process. The poem humorously portrays human behavior, particularly the tendency to be possessive and greedy over trivial matters. The nose and eyes fight over a pair of spectacles, reflecting how people can sometimes engage in disputes over material possessions, even when they may not necessarily need them. This theme sheds light on human vanity and a propensity to claim ownership over things that are not inherently valuable. With the use of satire, the poem comments on societal behaviors and norms, revealing the often irrational and humorous aspects of human interactions and disputes. Through the absurdity of the courtroom scenario, the poem critiques the triviality of disputes and the human inclination to prioritize material possessions over more significant matters. It's a satirical take on the human condition and how people often argue over things that, in the grand scheme of life, are not of great importance. These themes collectively contribute to the poem's humor and social commentary. Cowper uses wit and satire to provide a humorous yet thought-provoking perspective on human behavior and the legal process, making Nose versus Eyes a clever and entertaining work of literature. This poem uses humor, satire, and the absurdity of an imaginary courtroom scenario to explore themes related to hasty judgment, human behavior and greed, and social satire. These themes serve as vehicles for the poet to provide commentary on aspects of human nature and society, making the poem both entertaining and thought-provoking. Between Nose and Eyes a strange contest arose. The spectacles set them unhappily wrong. The point in dispute was, as all the world knows, to whom the said spectacles ought to belong. Arose is the past tense of arise, meaning to come into being or start to happen. Spectacles are eyeglasses. Dispute means a disagreement or argument. This line sets the scene for the poem by describing a peculiar dispute or contest that has arisen between two body parts, the nose and the eyes. The choice of these body parts is whimsical and personifies them as if they were individuals engaged in a legal dispute. The cause of the dispute is the spectacles, which are eyeglasses or glasses used for improving vision. The word unhappily suggests that the spectacles have somehow caused a disagreement or have been placed in an unfortunate position. The point in dispute refers to the central issue that the nose and the eyes are arguing about. The phrase "as all the world knows" humorously exaggerates the importance of this seemingly trivial dispute by implying that it's a well-known matter of global significance. The crux of the disagreement is over ownership. Both the nose and the eyes claim that they should rightfully possess the spectacles. The term said spectacles refers to the eyeglasses in question. So Tongue was the lawyer, and argued the cause, with a great deal of skill, and a wig full of learning, while Chief Baron Ear sat to balance the laws, so famed for his talent in nicely discerning. Chief Baron is a senior judge in some legal systems. Discerning means showing good judgment or insight. In this line, the poet introduces Tongue as the character who will serve as the lawyer in this whimsical courtroom scenario. Tongue represents the argumentative aspect of human nature. Tongue takes on the role of arguing on behalf of either the nose or the eyes in the dispute. The lawyer, Tongue, is described as being skilled and knowledgeable in making arguments, as evidenced by the phrase "a great deal of skill." The mention of a wig full of learning is a humorous reference to the traditional attire of lawyers in courtrooms, highlighting the lawyer's legal expertise. Here, Chief Baron Ear is introduced as the judge in this imaginative courtroom setting. The term baron implies a position of authority or judgment. Chief Baron Ear represents the sense of hearing, which plays a role in the decision-making process. The judge is tasked with balancing the laws, suggesting the need for a fair and impartial ruling. The judge, Chief Baron Ear, is renowned for his ability to discern or make careful judgments. This line emphasizes the judge's reputation for being fair and perceptive, underscoring the seriousness with which this whimsical dispute is being treated in the poem. In behalf of the nose, it will quickly appear, and your lordship, he said, will undoubtedly find, that the nose has the spectacles always to wear, which amounts to possession, time out of mind. Possession means the state of owning or having something. Here, it refers to the noser's claim of ownership over the spectacles due to continuous use. The lawyer, Tongue, begins his argument on behalf of the nose. He states that he will provide evidence to support the noser's claim to the spectacles. Tongue addresses the judge, Chief Baron Yer, respectfully as your lordship. He expresses confidence that the judge will eventually agree with his argument. Tongue argues that the nose should be considered the rightful owner of the spectacles because it always wears them. This assertion is based on the idea that the spectacles are designed to sit on the nose. Tongue asserts that the noser's continuous and long-standing use of the spectacles amounts to a claim of possession that has existed for a very long time. This phrase humorously exaggerates the idea that the nose has always worn the spectacles. Then, holding the spectacles up to the court, your lordship observes, they are made with a straddle, as wide as the ridge of the nose is, in short, designed to sit close to it, just like a saddle. Straddle describes the design of the spectacles, which are made to sit wide on the bridge of the nose. Ridge refers to the raised, narrow, and elevated part of the nose, specifically the part that runs down the center of the nose from the bridge to the tip. Saddle is a seat for a rider on the back of a horse. Here it is used metaphorically to describe how the spectacles fit comfortably on the nose, like a saddle on a horse. In this line, the lawyer, Tongue, physically presents the spectacles to the courtroom as evidence. He holds them up for everyone to see. Tongue draws the judge's attention to the design of the spectacles. He points out that the spectacles have a design feature known as a straddle. This means that they are designed to sit wide on the bridge of the nose. Tongue continues to emphasize the design of the spectacles. He states that the width of the spectacles is perfectly suited to the width of the ridge of the nose. This is a humorous way of suggesting that the spectacles were custom-made for the nose. Tongue further explains the design of the spectacles, likening it to a saddle that sits snugly on a horse's back. He implies that the spectacles are meant to fit comfortably on the nose, reinforcing his argument that they belong to the nose. Again, would your lordship a moment suppose, it is a case that has happened, and may happen again, that the visage or countenance had not a nose, pray, who would, or who could, wear spectacles then? Visage or countenance means face or facial expression. Pray is a polite way to request or ask. Tongue, the lawyer, asks the judge to consider a hypothetical scenario. He suggests that the situation he is about to describe is not purely hypothetical. It has occurred before and could happen again. Tongue asks the judge to imagine a face without a nose. In this hypothetical scenario, Tongue argues that if there were no nose on the face, there would be no one who could wear spectacles. He implies that the eyes alone wouldn't be able to wear them without the nose. On the whole, it appears, and my argument shows, with a reasoning the court will never condemn, that the spectacles, plainly, were made for the nose, and the nose was, as plainly, intended for them. Condemn means to express strong disapproval or criticism. Intended for means designed or meant for a specific purpose. Tongue, the lawyer, summarizes his argument and concludes that the evidence presented supports his case. He expresses confidence in the strength of his argument and believes that the court will find it reasonable and persuasive. Tongue reiterates his central claim, that the spectacles were specifically designed for the nose. He uses the word plainly to emphasize the clear and obvious nature of this design. He goes further by suggesting that not only were the spectacles made for the nose, but the nose itself was intended or created to wear them. This is a humorous twist on the argument, implying that the noser's primary purpose is to serve as a perch for the spectacles. Then shifting his side, as a lawyer knows how, he pleaded again in behalf of the eyes, but what were his arguments? Few people know, for the court did not think them equally wise. Pleaded is the past tense of plead, meaning to make an emotional or earnest appeal. In behalf of means in support of or on the side of. In this line, the poem shifts its focus to the lawyer, Tongue, who is described as shifting his side. This phrase means that Tongue is now going to argue on behalf of the eyes, as a lawyer often presents both sides of a case. Tongue begins to present the arguments in favor of the eyes, switching from his previous position of advocating for the nose. The poet humorously suggests that Tongue's arguments on behalf of the eyes are not as clear or convincing as his arguments on behalf of the nose. The phrase, few people know, implies that the arguments may not be well received or easily understood. The stanza concludes by revealing that the court, represented by the Judge Chief Baron Yer, did not find Tongue's arguments on behalf of the eyes to be equally wise or compelling as his previous arguments. This implies that the judge is leaning toward a decision in favor of the nose. So his lordship decreed, with a grave, solemn tone, decisive and clear, without one if or but, that whenever the nose put his spectacles on, by daylight or candlelight, eye should be shut. Decreed means ordered or commanded by someone in authority. Solemn means serious, grave, or dignified. Decisive refers to settling an issue or producing a definite result. Candlelight is the light produced by a candle. Here it refers to the evening time when candles are used for lighting. The judge, Chief Baron, makes a decision and decrees it with a serious and solemn manner. The judge's decision is clear-cut and unambiguous, without any room for doubt or ambiguity. He doesn't waver in his ruling. The judge's decree pertains to the use of the spectacles by the nose. The judge's ruling is that whenever the nose decides to wear the spectacles, whether it's during the day or by candlelight, in other words, at any time, the eye should be closed. This means that the eye should not be able to use the spectacles when the nose is using them. Let's start the analysis with the title of this poem. The title, Nose versus Eyes, immediately sets the tone for the poem, suggesting a conflict or dispute between two body parts. This whimsical title hints at the humorous and satirical nature of the poem. Moving on to the poem opens with a whimsical scenario in which the nose and eyes engage in a legal dispute over a pair of spectacles. The tongue serves as the lawyer, and the ear as the judge. This imaginative courtroom scenario forms the basis of the poem's humor and satire. Through clever wordplay and humorous arguments, the lawyer, tongue, first presents the case on behalf of the nose, asserting that the spectacles were clearly designed for the nose. He humorously suggests that the nose was intended for the spectacles. The poem then takes a humorous turn as tongue shifts sides and pleads on behalf of the eyes, though his arguments are not as convincing. The judge, Chief Baron, delivers a hasty and decisive ruling, decreeing that when the nose wears the spectacles, the eye should be shut. Overall, Nose versus Eyes is a light-hearted and satirical poem that uses humor, exaggeration, and clever wordplay to comment on human behavior, legal proceedings, and societal norms. It highlights the absurdity of disputes over trivial matters and invites readers to reflect on the quirks of human nature and society. The poem's structure, consistent rhyme scheme, and use of literary devices contribute to its playful and thought-provoking nature. It serves as a reminder that literature can both entertain and provide insights into the human condition. Now, let's take a look at a short summary of the poem before we move on to a more detailed one. Nose versus Eyes presents an imaginary courtroom scenario where the nose and the eyes engage in a legal dispute over a pair of spectacles. The poem humorously explores the absurdity of the situation and the arguments presented by the lawyer, tongue, on behalf of the nose. Ultimately, the judge, Chief Baron, decrees that when the nose wears the spectacles, the eye should be shut, effectively ruling in favor of the nose. In this poem by William Cowper, the poet presents a humorous and satirical imaginary courtroom scenario. The poem revolves around a dispute between two sensory organs, the nose and the eyes, over a pair of spectacles. The tongue serves as the lawyer, and the ear acts as the judge. The lawyer, tongue, first argues on behalf of the nose, claiming that the spectacles were clearly designed for the nose due to their comfortable fit. He humorously suggests that the nose was intended for the spectacles, emphasizing the nose's rightful ownership. However, tongue then shifts sides and pleads on behalf of the eyes, though his arguments for the eyes are less convincing. The judge, Chief Baron, delivers a swift and decisive ruling. He decrees that when the nose wears the spectacles, the eye should be shut, effectively granting ownership of the spectacles to the nose. The poem is a playful and satirical commentary on human behavior, legal proceedings, and societal norms. It highlights the absurdity of disputes over trivial matters and the tendency of people to prioritize material possessions. Through humor, wordplay, and clever arguments, Cowper invites readers to reflect on the quirks of human nature and society. The consistent structure and use of literary devices contribute to the poem's witty and thought-provoking nature. In conclusion, Nose versus Eyes by William Cowper is a delightful blend of humor, satire, and social commentary. It provides us with a window into the poet's wit and his ability to use poetry to reflect on the human condition. If you have any questions or would like to explore more literary works or topics, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thanks for joining me today, and happy learning!